Hello, this is John, and today we're going to talk about keyframes. Previously we discussed frames per second in your composition settings. This composition has 30 frames every second. A keyframe tracks changes in value to the properties of your object. I'll create a circle here to illustrate. With the circle created, we can edit the values of the properties in the timeline. You'll notice that this by itself doesn't create any animation. When I scroll through the timeline, nothing changes. To begin setting keyframes, click the stopwatch next to the property, and this will create your first keyframe. From there, you can move up and down the timeline and create more keyframes by either changing the value of your property or clicking the diamond on the left. If you click the stopwatch again, all keyframes will be removed. Don't worry, if you do this on accident, you can simply undo it. By altering the values of the keyframe, you create animation. The in-between frames are created by calculating how to get from one position to another. It is best if we have 3 keyframes to show how this works. They calculate this change with what is called a linear interpolation. This is to say that the rate of change from frame to frame is the same. If I am moving 100 pixels in a direction, over a period of 10 frames, then I am moving exactly 10 pixels per frame using linear interpolation. We can alter the rate of change several ways. For example, there are some preset methods in Keyframe Assistant if you right-click on the keyframe. First, let's try ease out. You'll notice the shape of the keyframe has changed. This tells you it is now interpreting the in-between frames differently on its changed side. In this case, the right side. It is still half diamond on the left side, which is linear, and on its right side, it's half hourglass. This indicates some level of easing. Think of easing as adding acceleration or deceleration to your animation. The eased side is where it's slowest. If we undo the ease out and select ease in, you'll notice the hourglass half is on the other side, the left side. And the effect is the same, but the direction of it is reversed. If we undo that, then select Easy Ease, it does both ease in and ease out. A more precise way to change the easing effect is using keyframe velocity. You can change both sides of the keyframe independently, or you can check this box here to lock the speed on both sides. The speed determines the amount of acceleration or deceleration the property values experience. The influence determines how many frames are affected by the acceleration or deceleration, and at a value of 100%, it slows down considerably when going in or out of this keyframe, depending on which side you set at 100%, possibly both. That contrast of speed is lessened as the percentage goes down. This method allows you to make math-based animation decisions. You can also create a sort of drift between keyframes using Rove across time. This is very similar to linear in appearance, except that the keyframe is now on a fraction of a frame. This creates a very subtle transition between keyframes. If you toggle the hold key, then half of the keyframe becomes a square. This means it will hold this value until the next keyframe. The in-between frames will not change the value. This creates a very sudden change in value. You can turn it off by toggling it again. Other keyframe effects won't toggle on and off if selected a second time. Instead, they will stack. You can also edit these interpolations via the graph editor. This gives you complete manual control over the keyframe's velocity and their influence. These are represented in a line along a graph. Time is horizontal and velocity is vertical. The amount of influence is represented by the line between keyframes. The higher the peak of its curve, the higher the influence. By selecting the keyframe and clicking on the icons on the bottom right side of the graph editor, you can convert the frame to hold and linear types of keyframes, which we have already discussed, or auto Bezier, which creates a smooth Bezier curve with handles you can use to edit the curves. And then there is Easy Ease, Ease In, and Ease Out, which we have also covered. Hover the mouse over each icon to see what it is. The icons on the left can be used to change how you view and interact with the graph editor. This might appear pretty confusing at first. I encourage you to experiment with your options to find out which method gets you your best results. When I am working for a client, I personally use a plugin that helps me work much faster and get the kind of results I want out of my keyframes. The plugin I use is Motion V2 by Matt from Mount MoGraph. You can check it out here. It does cost about $30, but to me personally it was well worth it. I encourage you to learn these methods first. It will help you understand what any plugin that affects your keyframes might be doing. This is the end of Lesson 1. A short version will be ready soon. If you need to review, I encourage you to watch it. Thank you.